Superhero landing. What's up, everybody? It's Nile here today.
What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nile here today, back with a brand new video. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be bringing you guys Behind the Pack. So Behind the Pack is an NSU podcast that was originally started by John Jacqueline and Blake Clay last semester. John unfortunately hit retirement age and I took over this semester. Anyways, guys, today I thought it was a perfect idea to bring you guys kind of like a little studio tour, because I know a lot of you have been asking me the behind the scenes of basically how a behind the podcast is made. And then posted every Thursday or Friday for you guys, so you guys are up to date with NSU athletics. So I'll give you a brief rundown. We usually do 3 different segments. We got a recap segment from last week. We got our interview segment, who are going to be interviewing Lexi Chase, the first softball player we've interviewed on Behind the Pack. And then we do a post or like a preview segment where we're going to go over the games and stuff like that for this upcoming week for Northern State. So anyways, guys, the time right now is 9:24. And I'm going to be going and walking to the studio. It is in Dakota Hall on the 2nd floor. The reason why I'm gonna be walking is because it's like 50 degrees outside here at Northern State. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, bring you guys along, have some fun, show you guys Blake Clay, a little bit of the setup, and go from there. So hopefully you guys are excited. Let's go ahead and walk to record. Elevator living in an apartment is the best because you literally don't have to walk outside. Well, technically you do, but you just get to ride down the elevator and go down just like that. Also, the fact that there's very little snow outside is weird because it's February 7th and there's like little snow outside, so. Beautiful campus of Northern State University. So in that building right there. And my apartments are over there. So it's literally less than a 5-minute walk. This is literally all the snow that remains. So I talk about the nice weather, guys. It is 39 degrees and cloudy. Daily, we got some rain tomorrow, but a lot of 30s and 40s, and yeah. It is February 8th, guys. Still snowy season. Almost there. Beautiful campus once again. Open campus. Just walk in there, go to your classes. Got the dorms and stuff right there. Some class buildings right there. I don't really think I've given you guys like an NSU campus tour, which is kind of intentional, but kind of not. But it's a beautiful campus, especially in February when it's beautiful outside right now, when it's not supposed to be.
5 minutes later.
Dakota Hall, baby. We've made it to the studio semi. Open these doors. Beautiful basketball court facility. And then up the stairs. Beautiful. And here we go. He's already got it unlocked for me. And there he is.
Hey, what up?
Clay.
What up?
So in here, we have the microphones, got the casting couch, as we like to call it, where I usually sit. When we're interviewing somebody, they sit here, and then we sit here. We share a mic because we don't have that much money, I guess, but yeah, so we just basically go like this, sit here and talk into it, give it here, back and forth, but nice little setup. It's surrounded by panel walls or soundproof proof walls, so it kind of sounds trippy in here when you're sitting in here recording, but you get it through and it makes its way. So it's a nice little setup. There's also another room that I don't think we'll be able to get in right now. That's where we record the videos and stuff like that. So we sit here, interview them, they talk to us. We sit here and record, and that's basically it. And then where he was at on the computer, I'll show you guys later, but that's where we edit it. And yeah, he renders the mics, and we're able to get the audio directly from here into the computer, and then we edit it like that, and just like a regular edit you would for a podcast like I would do or somebody else would do, basically. I gotta talk quietly because there's a class going on over there, but this is the computer lab. This is where a lot of the video editing is done, if you guys can tell. So we got all the computers in here, class in there, but everything like that is pretty nice. So Blake's usually working on this computer here, but it's directly from that podcasting room right there, so it's kind of coincides with each other. Okay, so you guys were wondering why I got here at 9:30 for a 10 o'clock interview. It's because we have to sit here and think of questions and a bio for our person that we're interviewing. So that took about, what, 10 minutes?
Probably, yeah.
5-10 minutes. It's usually what we do, and we had said that we were going to record a segment, and now we're probably just gonna end up waiting and start.
Yeah.
But this is what I was talking about earlier with the editing. We have our intro music and the, what do you call that, transition music?
Yeah, transition music. That's transition.
That's the famous music you guys hear on Behind the Pack. And then we just move the clips into there in between. And hopefully we put the audio in the right spot so we don't render it and it's repeating itself, because that happened about 2 weeks ago. But
Yeah, that was not fun.
this is always the best part, is when we sit here and we think of questions to ask, because sometimes they're easy, but other times they're hard. And with it being the first softball player we have, it was a little difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
But we got it all squared away, so it's 9:46. We're gonna start recording. Start recording, and then we're gonna interview Lexi. I forgot to mention as well, this is where we test the mics. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Cool. Dude, first of all, I swear, like, we can never get the freaking mics right. It pisses me off, but that's okay.
That's him talking
It
about
works. We're just gonna roll with the punches, go with the flow. It's kind of my style anyway, so it'll be all right. We're gonna get going. Basketball, it's kind of started off on a rough streak. They lost their first 2 games.
All right, you're good.
Go.
Hey guys, it is 10:56. We just finished recording for hour and a half total? A little less than an hour and a half?
Probably like 2, because we started. Oh, wait, no, yeah, like hour and a half. Yeah.
That is basically what we do. We try to kind of break it up a little bit. We were trying to get the recap segment in before we interviewed Lexi Chase, but just didn't happen today. So there's a lot of editing that we have to do here.
Yeah, this was a bad one.
Bad time to bring the camera when it was probably one of the hardest podcasts we ever had to do. I think it's just been a long week, but we'll just edit it and it'll sound great on Spotify. So hopefully you guys do give it a listen, but we got all the audio right there. I think it's roughly 44 minutes, but probably 42-ish by the time it's done.
Probably.
Yeah, around 42, 44 minutes. So I'd say honestly perfect time for a podcast there. We got our 3 segments. We got the recapping, we got the interview with Lexi Chase, and then we got the preview segment. And it was just a weird show as well, because basketball had 3 games to recap. Softball just started. So yeah, now we're going to sit here for probably the next hour before he has to go to class and edit this, and that's basically all we do, is we record and edit in this computer and in that studio right there. I showed you guys like the what are those things on the walls called?
They're like soundproof blankets, basically.
Yeah, so
I don't know the exact
the first time I was in there, low-key was trippy, but it actually sounds great, and that's why the mics are able to say great, which is something I need for my personal podcast setup, but I don't have the funds for that just yet. So yeah, we'll edit this bad boy, probably finish or do most of it here in the hour, be good to go, and then we'll render it. Is that the right word?
I think so.
We're exhausted. It's been a long day already, but we'll get the audio all squared away, and then we'll post it to be ready to go for tomorrow. That's usually when we try to post it on Thursdays at noon. Doing all the recording and editing on Wednesdays gives us plenty of time to get it for Thursday. All right, guys, it is 12:03 p.m. We got the full edit of the podcast right here. It is all edited and ready to go. Blake unfortunately had to go to class, but that's basically it. That's just kind of a quick behind the scenes of Behind the Pack. I'll probably drop a preview of Behind the Pack, this episode at least, so you guys can kind of see that. But from start to finish, about 2.5, 3 hours depending on the day. So good thing here and good thing that I was able to bring you guys along. We do pregame shows occasionally, and if we are able to do a pregame show sometime soon, I'll bring you guys along. But I know a lot of you guys had wanted to see kind of the behind the scenes of Behind the Pack. So that is basically it from start to finish. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure you like this video, comment down below, and smash that subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Welcome back to Behind the Pack. We are joined by our first ever softball guest here, number 19, Lexi Chase. Lexi, thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing here today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. I mean, we couldn't just pass up your 571 batting average over the weekend. We thought it was perfect to get you on this week. Before we get started, since you are our first ever softball player and a relatively new athlete on campus coming in last year, we'll just give a little bit bio about yourself. Lexi Chase is a pitcher/utility player out of Chatfield High School in Chatfield, Minnesota. There, she hit .541 with a 1.12 ERA. She was a 4-time All-State honoree for Chatfield. Out of high school, she attended Iowa Lakes Community College for 2 years, batting .452 and .529 with 17 home runs. She also struck out nearly 200 batters in her 2 years. She joined the Wolves last year, and so far this year, she leads the team with a .571 batting average, 2 triples, 7 RBIs with 16 strikeouts over 13 innings pitched. Lexi, did I miss anything from there? Is there anything else you would like to add in?
No, that's pretty much right. And yeah, it was a pretty good start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, you guys went 5-1 as well, so I'm sure that was obviously great to win some games there. So explain the pitcher / utility. So you do obviously both, but do you like pitch one game, then play the next in the outfield? I think you told me before the show. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so it really depends on the rotations, but this weekend I was able to pitch about 2 games, and then I played some outfield too, and it was really nice to be able to get in the lineup and play outfield at the same time, so that was nice.
Kind of like a little Shohei Ohtani action, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Why don't you just take a second, kind of did a little bit, but just recap this past weekend for you guys. I mean, you had an amazing weekend going 5-1 and with yourself batting .571 over 6 games. So why don't you just recap this past weekend for you guys?
Yeah, it was a great weekend. We went over to the St. Cloud's Dome, and we played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, got 6 games like you said. And it all kind of just goes into a blur, not going to lie. Like the 6 games kind of just merge at the end of the weekend, and we all played super hard. And going in the first game against Black Hills, like we were so pumped up. We wanted these wins really, really bad. We've been working so hard this off season, and we really just wanted to go out with a bang and see how it was. And funny story is like a lot of us seniors were like, oh my gosh, it's the first game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, and then we were always joking around like, what if the first pitch is a ball?
Yeah.
And, you know, just joking
get to the
around.
nitty gritty of everything.
Yeah,
there,
just joking around with each other, and it happened. I started the first game, and I threw the first pitch strike, and the crowd went crazy. Like the dugout was going wild, and like it was so loud, and I got chills everywhere. Yeah. Like first pitch strike, it went crazy, chills everywhere. I look around, and everyone's just smiling, and you know it's gonna be a good weekend just right off the bat. And
I mean, I can relate to that because obviously I play baseball, and I feel like we wait for that first pitch, and it's a strike, and all the energy's there, and it's just like a long time coming because I feel like, at least for baseball players, like we wait so long to start our seasons, right? Like football plays, basketball, volleyball, soccer, and then it's like softball and baseball at the end of the year. It's just like you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. But just briefly, so you had 6 games in 3 days. Like, I mean, I'm guessing that gets somewhat tiresome as it goes on. 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday, and then 2 games Sunday. Were you guys like just tired by the end of it, basically?
Yeah, we were pretty exhausted. We were all looking, we could see the end in the horizon, and we were just trying to plug along until we could get there. But we kept like amping each other up and like staying in the moment and just trying to be in the game at the time and being like, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we need to do, and we need to get our job done. And we did a good job this weekend.
Yeah, I think you guys did a fantastic job. And when we were talking about this on the podcast last week, like last time we've heard of playing 6 games over a weekend, that was like some travel ball high school. Like that's kind of like the memory that it reminded of us because he plays baseball. I used to play baseball. My sister plays softball in college as well. So I know those weekends where you're up at the earliest time you can be. Why don't you just kind of explain that transition going from high school, then to Iowa Lakes, and then now to NSU?
Yeah, definitely. So in high school, I was able to get a lot of innings, so I felt like that conditioned me well for college. Iowa Lakes, we had a pretty good pitching staff, but we still ended up having about 2 girls that consistently, me and another pitcher who consistently threw. So I ended up getting a lot of conditioning there where I threw a lot of innings there. And just you learn to grind at a different level from high school to even JUCO to here. Like all 3 levels are different. All 3 grinds are different. I think the biggest transition from high school to college is just playing that 7 innings. Right. It's just a different type of innings. It's weird to explain. It sounds like the same amount of innings, but it's just not.
No, it's different. Yeah, it's
different.
100% different. It's
every inning you got to be at your A game. There's not you don't get to the bottom of the order and you can just coast. You got to stay on your A game the whole time. Right. Exactly. So that's like the biggest difference between high school to college. Is
host for this podcast called Behind the Pack, which is an NSU athletics podcast. My co-host, or actually he's the host, I'm the co-host. Blake Clay and John Jacklin did start that last year, and that's actually primarily where my focus has been, on top of my schoolwork, on top of my baseball. And then I'm also still doing the Truth Podcast, which is my podcast. So I've just been doing so much with that, trying to balance the podcast, the YouTube channels, as well as just trying to balance